Radio. I am your host, Coach Angeline Wimbush. I'm a life coach and I focus on self-care. I am also an author and I am the CEO of Positive Steps 10, which is a self-help organization focused on self-care. And we provide self-care resources on our website, so make sure you check out the link. And today is a cool episode because we're going to talk about Christmas movies and the impact that Christmas movies have on how we feel and our mental state. So join me in this episode in having nostalgia and feel good feelings. So I got notes, y'all. So I have to get my notes out. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the impact of holiday movies on like our mentality and on our emotions. I looked up why is it even a thing? Like, why are we so impacted by the holiday movies, especially Christmas movies that come up that tend to make us feel all kinds of emotions, whether it be sad or feeling good, or we're feeling excited or anticipating what's coming up next, or just the love in the air. And what I noticed was a theme in a lot of the research. So I put together a list of the things that I saw coming up over and over again in different articles. So let's get into it. We're talking about Christmas movies today, thus the headband. So we already know it could be a stressful season because people are looking at their finances, trying to get things for everybody. They have a lot of obligations. You have to be certain places. A lot of people are like pulling on your time, demanding your time, wanting you to do things and participate in things. However, you can still find joy and peace and comfort and positivity and love in just watching movies. So we just came up with a list, and we also did a collab with Declutter Empress Radio, so check them out as well. But in this video, we're going to focus on the Christmas movies and why I selected them, and also just hoping that it could be maybe something that you haven't watched yet, or maybe you can identify with why I selected those movies. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go through it. Before we get into listing the movies, I want to focus on why do Christmas movies bring about so many different feelings and emotions. And it could be sad, it could be joyful, it could be anticipation, it could be nostalgia, just so many different emotions. So I did some research around the web, looked at some things, and I'm going to share with you what I came across. So first of all, when you have all these positive emotions, it comes from your hormones being released by what you're seeing. So the serotonin, the dopamine, the oxytocin, and the endorphins, and they're all bringing about joyous, happy feelings, kind of bringing down that stress, calm, and that's what these movies bring about. They just make you feel all the positives. So that's why I chose these movies. Also the nostalgia, just remembering your childhood. If you had joyous childhood memories, it's really gonna bring it up. If you had just like that one memory out of all of you, maybe you had a difficult childhood, but you had one memory of like Christmas time, and maybe expecting something from Santa, or maybe going to a relative's house, or the way that you spent Christmas, or just your imagination about Rudolph or Frosty or Santa, or just getting the gift that you wanted. That one memory brings back the nostalgia that makes you feel good around this time. Also, being able to escape stress and get away from the stress of whatever is going on, whether it be the demands of being somewhere or having to buy things or not having the finances to do any of that. it can be an escape from the reality. And we need that a lot of times. And that's why we look at movies and read books anyways, sometimes is to give ourselves a break from our own lives and from what's going on presently or in the world. I mean, there's so much going on right now in 2020. It can be beyond what we can even ingest. And just to know that, you know what, I'm gonna go home, get on my sofa, grab my favorite beverage, a snack, and I'm about to put on this movie is comforting. It can be a supportive outlet for you when you want to do something fun and you want to escape from the stress. Also, another thing I saw was it talked about just having shared human experiences. You know, we're all human and there's multi-generations walking around this earth. You know, you might have grandma, maybe great-grandma, you have mom, you have kids, you have grandkids. And so if you all sit down and say, let's just watch this movie, you can bond and have a moment that you can cherish. And it's hard to get those times back, but sometimes when you're engaging in a shared experience, such as watching a Christmas movie, you can bond even more than you thought. Like, you can bond tighter and develop a greater sense of like what touches everyone, and you can talk about it. It can be a discussion, conversation piece. Just being able to experience that together is joyful in itself. And you can have this memory that you remember. Like, I remember when we all sat down, we all enjoyed this movie, we watched it all the way through. Maybe something funny happens, maybe someone remembers a time where they may have a flashback or a memory that they want to bring up or talk about afterwards. But it's just a beautiful moment to share with your family. So, holiday movies can remind you of just how grateful you are to have the little things in life, or even just to have family or people to share this time with. It could just be, I'm just grateful for my current state of who I am and what I'm experiencing. And it could be your job, it could be your career, it could be a job, it could be your family, it could be what you've overcome, and it could be your current self. Like, just being able to move and being able to make choices freely on your own, being able to think clearly, just the tiniest of things you can have gratitude for. You can have gratitude for the big things that is going on in your life. But the bottom line is, it can help you be grateful because you're watching someone else's story, watching them, how they're feeling about it, how they're trying to navigate through it, how they try to address conflict, and how they overcome, because usually they always end pretty well. So you can see like, oh, okay, this person was, able to overcome this obstacle because they did this, or they thought this way, or they reached out to this person, or they used this resource. And it's just a wonderful way to capture the feeling and essence of the Christmas season. It's all about love and joy and just being appreciative of who and what you have right now. And of course, we can go big and we can have all kinds of holiday parties and buy huge extravaganza gifts, go on huge extravaganza vacations and trips, and have all kinds of decorations that are just beyond belief. But really, it's how you feel, it's what you do, it's what you are grateful for, and how you express that gratitude that is more important than the commercial season, than the traditions and all of that. Another point that I saw when I was doing my research was the vicarious romance. That is probably the most predictable part of the Christmas movies, especially like Hallmark and Lifetime and things like that. You always see, okay, he gonna get with her, or she gonna get with him, or they not gonna stay together, or whatever. But you always rooting for that main character to find love, and 9 times out of 10 they do, and it's just, oh, it's just like the clinch, like that's what you've been waiting for. And if you don't have that love in your life, you don't have that romantic love, or you're not experiencing that, or you are like deep in it, maybe you have a new love, and it just makes you dive deeper into it. And so having those Christmas movies that can show and demonstrate just how to be soft in your romance, how to go after your romantic partner, how to embrace your romance, that is so enlightening. It's just very inspiring to see romance unravel on the screen. So that's why we love those cheesy Christmas movies. It just brings you so much joy to see love in the air. Even if you're not in it, you're like, ah. But sometimes we might love to hate certain things, and so some people might be hating on it and be like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see people all like this, but they still watching the movie because it's just comforting to watch. Another point made was that we like to watch the Christmas movies because they make us feel sad. So they may elicit feelings that you wouldn't normally choose, but you know that you're going to feel that. So you go ahead and watch it anyway. Like I said, some people may not want to see that romance. It may remind them of a breakup or from a lost love. And so they still watch the movie, but they have their tissue with them, their comfort food, comfort drink, their blanket, like they ready. And I think that's also something that's welcome at this time of year. Same thing with sadness and grief. We know by looking at the synopsis of a Christmas movie or a show, and we already know like what's gonna be like and what's gonna happen, but we still watch it anyways because we're like, well, I kind of want to feel that feeling. So that's why it's important for us to feel our feelings. We can't keep masking and pushing our feelings to the side. Feel your feelings, and if you need help getting it out, choose a sad movie, a drama Christmas movie. And they do have scary Christmas movies, y'all, so you can look up scary Christmas movies. Not on my list, not my choice, but some people like that, and look for that if that's something that you really want to feel, so that you can get that anxiety out maybe, or that frustration, or you just want to, maybe being scared, or that feeling of like, you know a thrilling feeling is something that you're seeking. Seek out movies like that, maybe darker ones. For me, it would be something like the ones that kind of talk about Scrooge, and like they usually have these, the ghost and all that stuff. And while some people are like, oh yeah, that's traditional, it brings that back nostalgia, for me, I don't like that. So I don't usually pick that kind of Christmas movie, but it's something you can look at. Okay, I'm ready for my list. So let's get festive and talk about our list. The first one is Holiday Rush. Loved it. And that was when a widowed radio DJ is fired. He and his 4 spoiled children must leave their lives of luxury behind and move in with his aunt just before Christmas. He had to realize that he did not have the connection with his children that he thought he had, and relearn his children, what they like, and engage with them more. He also had to open his eyes to the fact that they were grieving the loss of their mother, and also just open his eyes to what was right in front of his face, the love that was in front of his face. And so, it dealt with grief, it dealt with humility, it dealt with parent-child relationship, it dealt with just career change and trying to find yourself, figure things out. So I thought it was such a cool movie, but it was very entertaining too. It had some comical scenes in it, so it was very fun to watch, and I'm going to encourage you to watch it as well. The next one is Home Alone. This is a classic, y'all. Kevin McAllister, who is 8, acts out. So he's being naughty the night before they go on a trip to Paris. The mother makes him sleep in the attic, but they forget all about it and leave him up there. They actually they thought he was in the neighbor kid got counted. But anyway, if you don't know this movie, definitely turn it on, watch it. It's hilarious. Just the fun ways that this child learned to problem solve on his own. I mean, he was using his critical thinking. He was using his MacGyver skills. Like, and if you don't know who MacGyver is, look that up. But yes, it was just very funny, and it was comical as well. It had two criminals who were after him like the whole movie, but he diverted them most of the movie, and then once they did try to get at him, he had all kinds of booby traps for them. Like, he was ready, and it just showed that he had the survival skills. He had to develop survival skills, but they were there. Like, he had the skills to do it, and he did a great job. The next movie that I really enjoy during the holiday time is called Holiday Calendar. This actually takes place in a small town. Surprise. And of course, you know, two best friends. They're a male and female, and the main character, she gets a calendar from her grandfather that was passed down to her by her deceased grandmother, and everything that happens it's an advent calendar, so everything that happens in the advent calendar actually comes true, but she misinterprets she misinterprets the meaning of everything, like, throughout the whole movie. And then at the end she realizes like what really the calendar was trying to show her. And you know, it looked at self-actualization, which is what's your purpose in life, and just like what's your meaning behind the things that you want to do, and your visualization of your life, and just like your belief in yourself. And if she was challenged in all of that, it also helped kind of show, like, when she realized like, oh, I thought that calendar was showing me this, and she had to kind of be still. She kind of took a break from everyone for a couple days, because, you know, it's Christmas time, y'all, so, you know, they had to accelerate everything. But she just took a break from everybody, didn't answer her phone, didn't go anywhere. She got fired from her job. Like, so many things were going on for her that at first she thought everything was on point because of what the things that the way that she was perceiving things. But when she got still and started processing and opening her eyes to some things, she realized the calendar was trying to tell her something else. So I just love that. I love that thought of, you know, be still and get with your thoughts, process what you're going through. And also just realizing like how you show up and what do you need to do. And I think that movie really encompasses that. And besides, I had a little romance to it, and it was obvious the whole time to us, I think. But to her, she couldn't see it. And you know, it's kind of like one of those movies where it's like, girl, but you know, it worked out in the end. It was good. I still enjoyed the main character. So I do think that Holiday Calendar also focused on family tradition and just being loyal as a friend and being there for your friends and knowing yourself and not giving up on your dreams and seeing obstacles more as stepping stones than trying to, you know, shoot your dreams down. And she was able to embrace the opportunities that were presented to her. So I love the self-awareness that she gained from just being in these situations, learning from her mistakes, and taking the time to be still, change her perspective, and see what she really wants. My next movie is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Steve Martin and John Candy. This classic 80s. I loved it. I really enjoyed Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, it brings me back to my childhood. I used to love to watch this movie with my parents, and it's just something to just pass down generation to generation. I made my kids watch it at one point, and and I asked my daughter, I was like, "Have you seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?" She's like, "Yes, you had me see it already." So it's just a reminder. Like, I think that even if it's outdated and the graphics aren't clear and things like that, just these kids, because they like to see things with the new graphics and everything, but this is a classic that I think people would love to watch during the Christmas season. The synopsis is Neil Page, who is a control freak, he's trying to get home to Chicago to spend Thanksgiving. So this is again a holiday movie, but it's great for Christmas time, with his wife and kids. But his flight gets rerouted, and then it's going to be delayed because of a snowstorm. And so he gets kind of frantic, and he ends up bumping into John Candy's character, who is Del Griffith, and Del is like a happy-go-lucky guy, and he's just sees everything through rose-colored glasses, and everything is like positive to him, and they kind of overcome this adventure together to try to get to where they're going. So for me, just as looking at it in a therapeutic perspective, it looks at just being present, being able to be flexible, being able to have optimism regardless of a situation, using those problem solving skills again, dealing with relationship conflict and trying to navigate through that, being able to overcome adversity again and again and again, finding humor in things, and the importance of being a person of your word and respecting others. Those are just so deep to me. I really enjoyed this movie. In this next movie, Almost Christmas, it has a lot of heavy hitters in there. It had Monique, it had Danny Glover, Gabrielle Union, it had Omar Epps. I love this movie. I had never seen it before, just seen it now in 2024. I think it's an older movie. I enjoyed it. I think it's from 2018. I enjoyed this movie. I can't believe I missed this movie. So Almost Christmas it had comedy, it had drama, it had just the family traditions. It had the realization of grief and the loss of the matriarch in the family. It was good. So I loved just seeing the traditional African American, Black traditional things that they did during that time, just the soul food and things like that, the aunt cooking, kind of taking charge because she can see that y'all missing your mother, I need to be here. And it was in the movie it showed the sibling rivalry, which was complicated, but I do think that it was important to bring light to the fact that everybody isn't getting along during Christmas time, and but you still are together for the sake of the family. So just them being able to get through their differences, dealing with substance abuse of the younger son, like dealing with just the fact that he's got these secrets. Everyone has secrets, but it just seemed like the secret of that, and them all coming together to rally around him to get through it, the secret of the father that he had coming, and how they reacted to that. It was very deep. It was like it also has some deep-rooted family issues that needed to be addressed, and I'm glad that they showed it in that movie. It was very good. I'm glad that they highlighted those, and we were able to see the characters move through and navigate through the whole situation and just coming back together. So what did you think of my list? My list of Christmas movies that I think that you should check out at least this season. And there are so many others, because let's be honest, I mean it's just the season to be watching movies. Any feel-good movie is going to ignite those positive emotions you've been looking for. So you have to figure out what movies you want, what feelings you want to ignite. Get your snacks, get your beverage, get your blanket, find a comfy spot, and turn on those Christmas movies and enjoy and make your own list of what brings you joy this season. As always, be the best you that you can be, one positive step at a time. And Merry Christmas from my family to yours. Peace. If you go on our website, you'll see the link to PS10 Radio, which is our podcast. You'll see the link to the Lotus Life Self-Care Coaching Program, which is our self-care life coaching program, and you will also see links to journals and workbooks that support your self-care journey.